How we doing, folks? Welcome back to my fourth and final video recording here from the luxurious Courtyard Marriott at SCGCon. We're currently snowed in, so for those of you that haven't caught my other few videos, I've been doing some YouTube exclusive content with deck lists that people have submitted that they said they were okay with me streaming offline. Let me know in the comments section below this video if you liked YouTube exclusive stuff, if you didn't like it, why you liked it, why you didn't like it. Be constructive, be specific, you know, same rules always apply. At any rate, we are diving in here with some Jund Scapeshift today. So this is basically a Bring to Light Scapeshift deck that's leaning more heavily on black cards as opposed to the blue cards that you often see played in this archetype. And I think this is a neat direction to build this deck. So cards like Remand and Cryptic Command tend to leave a little bit to be desired in Modern as a format in general, so I kind of like having access to things like Fatal Push, and just like having more ramp spells like Explore that are also cantrips. And then our Bring to Light package gives us a variety of things such as Anger and Damnation and Unmoored Ego, and even a second combo in Madcap Experiment in addition to our Scapeshift. So I'm interested to see how this plays out. Those of you that might know a little bit of my history playing a bunch of competitive Magic in Modern, you may know that I am a sucker for blue-based Scapeshift, so I'm really not a huge fan of red-green Valakut Titan as an archetype, but the Bring to Light Scapeshift deck is like a combo control toolbox deck, so it scratches a lot of itches that I like to scratch in Modern, and because it has a combo finish in it, it's able to steal some of those games that a more traditional dedicated control deck would have a hard time with, right? One of the things that control decks tend to struggle with in Modern is that it's a format where you're generally very rewarded for being proactive, and having this combo finish in your deck kind of gives you that proactiveness all in one. If my league will join here. Uh-oh. Oh, are we doing it? Maybe. Come on, Moto, I believe in you. I believe in you, Magic Online. You, me, and Mr. McGee. So only having a small splash of blue makes the mana in the deck a little bit friendlier. We don't have to try and cast triple blue cards. We've got double black and then some green cards early. We get to play a Worldly Counsel as effectively Impulse here, which is nice. Give us some powerful selection. Our curve looks a little clunky here, but remember, Search for Tomorrow is really a one-drop on one when you suspend it, so I like the use of Explore as kind of filler and a little bit of redundancy to see more cards in your deck. Effectively gives us 12 ramp spells, which is nice. Get us up to those lethal scape shifts faster. Unfortunately, this is not a hand we can keep. The actual spells in this hand are like very reasonable, but unfortunately we don't have green mana to cast them. I mean, if you could just like never draw Valakut, this archetype would be so good. I believe there is a Watery Grave. Is there a Watery Grave in my deck? There is not a Watery Grave in my deck. So if I keep this hand, this has to fetch Breeding Pool. I think I'm keeping it, but I'm like, perfect. I would really like a Steam Vent. I'm actually going to lead on the basic forest here because I would like to draw the Misty that's on top of my deck. So the Misty Rainforest that's on top of my deck can get Steam Vents, and then we can Worldly Counsel, and then the Verdant Catacombs can even be free to grab something like, say, you know, basic Swamp here, and we'll have all of our colors locked in. Worth noting that there are 10 mountains total in our deck, including one basic mountain. So that's something to think about when we are Scapeshifting. It's kind of funny to note that there's only one main deck copy of Scapeshift in this deck. We just like happen to have it in the opener here. Oh gosh, if we're playing against red-green Valakut Titan, this Unmoored Ego is probably about to be really good, huh? Just like name their Valakut the Molten Pinnacles. Hopefully they go like land Farseek or land Sakura-Tribe Elder. Scavenging Ooze. Oh, we're playing against Ponza, aren't we? I might not play my 4-color land combo deck against Ponza. We'll see. We'll see. Let's everybody take a deep breath. We'll cast Anticipate here. As many of you know, few people have anticipated as much as I do. I think I'm just going to take the search. I don't think I really care about the Scavenging Ooze at this point. I'm going to go ahead and fetch a Swamp here. And then just cast Search for Tomorrow for 3 mana. because that's something you are allowed to do. And then we have all the colors that we need locked up here, right? Like I have blue, I have green, I have red, I have double black. This works out well because unless I draw Platinum Emperion, I'll be able to go Overgrown Tomb tapped plus play a Madcap Experiment next turn. I do have Anger of the Gods in my deck, so I guess I'll grab a second red source here just in case I draw that. Just like cover all my bases. We have the one double red card, and then we have some double green and double black cards. We don't have any double blue. If they are Ponza, this Madcap Experiment might let us steal the game. They are in fact playing Ponza. So there's a non-zero chance that like this Madcap Experiment just locks them out. Bloodbraid Elf is also not bad. I'm gonna lead on Madcap Experiment rather than Bloodbraid Elf because I would prefer to give myself the fewest possible chances to draw Platinum Emperion. So this is my 8-8. And there's a good chance that like my 8-8 here just like is unkillable for my opponent's like green-red poop deck. Like drawing Bloodbraid Elf here is like pretty good for us. It's possible that if I put my opponent on Ponza that I should have fetched up my basic island last turn instead of the basic mountain. Yeah, losing my forest here is kind of a beating. It's a little bit of a punish for choosing to play get the Platinum Emperion going before something else. Kolaghan's command's pretty decent. Especially since I still have my Schwamp. Wow, just straight up no blocks, huh? Alright. Deal. There aren't any creatures in graveyards just yet, so Scavenging Ooze doesn't do anything. We're going to get them under the Abyss very quickly here. See if they have like a Storm Breath Dragon or something. Chandra, sure. If they get aggressive here, we could kill them with a shock from the Kolaghan's command next turn, which is nice. I suspect they'll leave the Bloodbraid Elf at home, though. Leave them both at home. Okay, it's pretty conservative. Probably makes sense. Yeah, I definitely, like, I put my opponent on Ponza early, and I think that means getting this basic mountain was pretty wrong. I think I either should have doubled up on the forest in the event of Stone Rain or Molten Rain, or I should have gotten access to basic island. Like, one of those two things should have happened. So I'm going to go ahead and have them discard a card and shock this Scavenging Ooze before damage happens here. And the reason for this sequencing is once the Bloodbraid Elf dies, they will be able to eat it with the Scavenging Ooze, which will then mean the Kolaghan's command can no longer get rid of it. They discarded a redundant Blood Moon. Seems good. So, like, even if they rip an Inferno Titan here, I guess if they have Titan, they can go to 2, and then they kill me on the backswing. Yeah, because the Chandra's going to hit me for 2 down to 12, and then I guess they need to have a land next turn to kill me. Oh, this does 3 to me on enter as well. All right, yeah, I believe. Wait, what? This is an 8/8. Okay. I'm really confused. I'm just gonna go ahead and attack. So we're dead to like any blocker here. We're not dead on board though, right? Because they only have 9 plus 2. So they have a total of 11 at the moment. And like if they just have a bunch of stone cold nothing, they have to chump block with this. But like any blocker is good enough here. Oh, right. I'm so dumb. This can't deal damage to me. I'm sitting here talking about, like, how I could die, and, like, this thing just means I can't die. I think that's probably the game, though, right? Like I just don't have basic lands to play Magic with here. And, like, eventually they're going to be able to, like, attack with this, plus use Chandra triggers and stuff like that. So I could, like, attack in and, like, force a double block here, but, like, nothing really comes of that. So I'm an idiot, wasn't thinking about the text on my Platinum Emperion, but it ultimately just doesn't matter. I think there's a good chance that if I would have doubled up on the basic forest and not gotten Stone Rained off of that, or sequenced in a slightly different manner, I would have been able to win that game, but not sure that it's really worth dwelling on. Anger seems okay here just because, like, it sweeps up their nonsense. Pulse Morass is actually fine, probably fine for picking my lands back up. What do I want to get rid of here? Unmoored Ego doesn't do a whole lot. Worldly Counsel is probably good just, like, to minimize the number of blue cards in my deck. I wonder if I just, like, turn into a Bring to Light combo deck and just, like, don't try and Scapeshift them. It's like a Bring to Light toolbox deck. This is only non-basic, so I can't do anything to their Utopia Sprawled lands with that. Back to Nature kills Blood Moons, I suppose. This is fine. I'm going to leave the one. The one Scapeshift in is probably okay. Yeah, like I said, I think if I fetch differently with that Search for Tomorrow, I have a real shot there. But I didn't, so we didn't. It's, like, not amazing, but it's fine. This is actually pretty good. I get to suspend Search on one. I would love another basic on top of my deck. So I get to suspend Search. And then I get to shock, just play Swamp, play Steve next turn. And then Search will go off before I play my land on turn 3. So I'll be able to, like, play Tracker and then potentially make 2 clues right away, which is nice. So, Search for Tomorrow, loses a counter, we draw a card, draw the Schwamp off the top of our deck. Play Stevo. We're not going to sacrifice Sakura-Tribe Elder during their end step, because I'd like the Search for Tomorrow has to come off during our upkeep, which will give us our 3rd land, so I'd like to wait to sacrifice the Sakura-Tribe Elder until after I have Tireless Tracker in play. Also, leaving the Sakura-Tribe Elder in play gives me a little bit of flexibility to, like, choose which basic I want, like, post-Stone Rain or post-Molten Rain, to, like, get a little bit more info on, like, how they're interacting with my stuff. Our opponent has a lot of mana here. Might just get run out of this one. That is a brutal curve. Alright, well now I'm going to block and go to Basic Forest, because I need to, I need a 3rd land for this Tireless Tracker anyways. And then the Search is going to get an island for me. We'll put Tracker into play and then make a clue, which is not the worst. I would like to cast this Search for Tomorrow. Fatal Push doesn't really do anything just yet. It's kind of unfortunate. I guess maybe I'm supposed to, like, not get my clue and push the Arbor Elf here, because the Arbor Elf is, like, technically +3 mana, right? Yeah, maybe it's correct to shock and then, like, play the Tracker without using the Swamp. Or, like, you could probably also argue that, like, okay, yeah, they just, like, have Stone Nothing here. Smells like Stone Nothing. So, like, if they had a 6-drop, they'd cast their 6-drop, right? So, like, they obviously don't have a 6-drop. Do I just, like, go get Platinum Emperion again? They probably have decent answers to Platinum Emperion post-board, right? So, like, the Madcap plan probably becomes a bit worse. What do I want to do here? just, like, get Kalitas, like, get another basic swamp here and, like, go grab Kalitas. It doesn't seem unreasonable. Like, they don't have any huge bombs, otherwise they would have done that already. And then, like, once I start fatal pushing their stuff with a Kalitas in play, the game's gonna end real fast. Just like this Bring to Light mid-range deck. I could get, like, Solemn Simulacrum and, like, try and work my way up to, like, casting or, like, getting enough lands to Scapeshift, but I think I'd rather just do this. I think it's a little bit better. Oh, you know what? My sequencing here is poor. I should have attacked with Tireless Tracker before I cast the Bring to Light, because they won't block the Tireless Tracker when I can threaten to crack clues. But once I've no longer have mana to crack clues, they could just double block and trade for it. So I think my sequencing there is slightly incorrect. I should attack before I Bring to Light, so that way I can get in my 3 points of damage. I've, like, missed 3 free points of damage, basically. Worth noting that our clues conveniently provide access to Revolt for our Fatal Push. We'll be able to crack a clue and then Fatal Push this Tireless Tracker next turn, which is nice. And if we get a crack or 2 in with this Kalitas, that should run away with the game pretty quickly. Oh, that's scary. What do we get? And one of the reasons why I fetched the second basic Swamp last turn was so that I can Fatal Push, even if they Stone Rain me. Sure, you want to take me off red mana? Deal. I guess Anger would actually be pretty good on this board, huh? Pulse of Marasa. That sounds wonderful. I would like this Verdant Catacombs, please. I would like to make some more clues. I am no longer clueless. To push that dork off a cliff, please. Am I willing to trade Kalitas for their 2 creatures? I don't think so, actually. I think Kalitas just, like, being a 5/6 next turn is just, like, pretty backbreaking for them. Although you could maybe argue that between these clues and the Kalitas, I've, like, got too much going on. It's like I should just, like, invest in Tireless Trackers. A Braid, sure. You got him. Yeah, I wonder if I'm actually supposed to board the Madcap package out post-board. Because they're just going to, like, have access to more things. Alright, I'm going to attack with these 2. And then, honestly, I'm probably just, like, paying 3 with the Kalitas to, like, make this a 5/6. Like, there's no way they're racing a 5/6 lifelinker. It's, like, not happening. Like, 10-point swing, go. I have Sakura-Tribe Elder here to block the Bloodbraid Elf and get a land out, and then I can start cracking some clues next turn. It is worth noting that Anger of the Gods and Kalitas is not a combo. So if a card is impacted by 2 replacement effects simultaneously, the controller of the card chooses the order in which those replacement effects apply. So basically, the person whose stuff is getting Anger gets to choose whether or not it gets exiled by Kalitas or exiled by Anger of the Gods, and obviously they're going to choose Anger of the Gods. I think I'm actually going to cut the Madcap combo here post-board. I'm going to put this Baloth in my deck, and probably this Harmonize. Harmonize or Eternal Witness. No, I'm going to get a Witness. I'm a big sucker for Eternal Witness. Best green card. Second best green card after Tireless Tracker. Probably second best after Tireless Tracker. It's, like, pretty good. I like how this first match with the Scapeshift deck is, like, as long as the entire three first matches with the Grixis Delver deck from earlier today. It's, like, good, clean live-in. Oh, Magic the Gathering. Oh, Magic. This hand just, like, isn't even that good, too. It's, like, has 7 spells in it, and, like, none of them are cheap and efficient. This hand's, like, not amazing, but it's fine. I will keep a land on top of my deck against the Ponza deck. The fact that I have 2 searches is kind of relevant. I suppose they've turned 2 Blood Moon, which they will not, off of turn 1 Windswept Teeth, so that's nice. They kept 7, so we're going to shock. Breeding Pool, Suspend Search, and then I'll be able to put Valakut in as a tapped land and suspend another search next turn, and then we'll be all set to like windmill slam this battle off on 3. I wonder what they kept. They must have just kept something that's like incredibly interactive, right? Ooh. Going on a bear hunt. Do 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 do. That in the place. We're gonna get basic forest with the search from tomorrow that's suspended. And that one will probably get basic swamp. The second search. You have a blood moon. So the first search will get basic forest. We can cast the second search so we can cast the Maelstrom Pulse. And the part where this house of cards comes crumbling down, and the reason why Ponza is so obnoxious against interactive mid-range decks like this is because even though I have access to my basic lands here, my opponent's deck can just cast, you know, Stone Rain or Molten Rain and like kill my basic land. So it just like doesn't even matter that I have a lot of access to basics because their cards are going to destroy my basics. So, looking to fade land destruction this turn. Alright, sweet. Just gonna go ahead and Fatal Push this Arbor Elf here. Cuts him off 2 mana, lets me use my swamp for the turn. Bye, Felicia. That is not the one I want to play first. I would like to cast Pulse to start. Alright, well, we've got basic forests and basic swamps. Unfortunately, we don't have a whole lot else. I suppose the good news is, if they don't Stone Rain or Blood Moon us again here, Bring to Light is lethal next turn, because Scapeshift is lethal on 7 lands when they're at 18. Sure, you have a Chandra. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Deal. Alright, it means we have 5 lethal draws next turn. I'm going to decline cracking this Verdant Catacombs because there's a Tireless Tracker in my deck. So if Tireless Tracker is my draw step, I'd like to hold this fetch line to make a clue with it. But we do have five draws that are lethal here. If we don't find our combo ASAP, we're going to be in a lot of trouble. Just because I'm actually going to play this out rather than the battle off, because I really just want to try and thin and draw to what we're looking to hit as soon as possible. Because we're falling behind pretty quickly on board. They have both Tireless Tracker and Chandra here. They're going to bury us. I'm not dead on board, right? They can Chandra, kill my thing, and then attack me for 8, which puts me to 2. So I am dead to a Lightning Bolt. I'm also potentially dead to an Inferno Titan. No, Titan shouldn't quite be lethal, I don't think. And then they won't have mana to crack the clues to make the tracker bigger. So they definitely have a series of cards that kill us here. Let's see if they find them. Utopia Sprawl, deal. And if they attack into this Solemn Simulacrum, we'll be able to draw an extra card when it dies, which gives us 2 shots to draw either Bring to Light or Scapeshift to combo kill the opponent. Honestly, even just like drawing a removal spell for the tracker might get us back into the game a little bit. It's actually another reason to keep the Verdant Catacombs uncracked. There's 2 more copies, sorry, of Fatal Push in my deck, which leaving the Revolt trigger from the Verdant Catacombs to turn on is pretty potent. Uh-oh, you didn't find a Blood Moon, did you? Crack the clue. Crack the clue. A Braid, sure. So, dead to Bolt. Oh, I'm actually just dead on board, right? Because they have 8. because the Chandra hit me for 2. It's unfortunate. Maybe I was a little greedy to not play the Baloth there, but I felt like I just had to give myself the most possible chances, like Draudar out. It's like a pretty competitive game, considering the fact that like their deck's only good matchup is decks like ours. I don't know if our deck has good matchups, but like the only thing that Ponza is really reasonable against in Modern are like these kind of mopey mid-range decks that are like more than 2 colors. Anything that like gets on the board underneath them just like runs them out of the game. The Ponza deck is basically like hoping the opponent can't play Magic, and then anytime they do play Magic, they're just like gonna fall over. If your deck can do anything that doesn't care about Lightning Bolt or can live through a Lightning Bolt, you're usually pretty reasonable against Ponza if it happens quickly. I'm on the draw. I'm gonna keep this on the draw. Like the spells are pretty good. I get to suspend search on 1, so like if I hit a land in 2 draws, I'm like in a pretty happy spot. Celestial Colonnade. Can't imagine a matchup like this is too terrible for us. I go ahead and fetch an Overgrown Tomb and suspend the search for tomorrow. Alright, we're going to look for Azkinta. Unfortunately, we kept kind of a speculative hand. So, like, if I knew we were playing against Jeskai, I'd have mulligan this hand. And this is, again, just one of the problems with putting interactive cards in your Magic deck in Modern. Like I kept a 7 that was, like, pretty reasonable if we hit a land. But, like, now, even if we hit a land, like, this hand just, like, has 2 cards that don't have text boxes in this matchup. Which feels pretty bad for us. Or do they not have a 3rd land? They just skipped their first main phase. They don't have a 3rd land. Okay, it's good for us. We're gonna get like Mana Leaked or Remanded here. I want to just like be very sad. Negate. Yep, rude. Well, that was fun. Magic's a good time. Alright, cut all our cards that don't have text boxes. It's pretty clean. Just like cut all the cards. Solemn Sepulchre's pretty decent here too. The Madcap combo probably doesn't have much text in this matchup. I'll bring in a Surgical Extraction because they have magic cards. I don't know if this is good, but it's what we've got. You can maybe argue I should leave Fatal Push in, because a lot of times these decks have click post board. They also have access to Celestial Colonnade, which can be annoying. One of their better ways to close the game out. The hand just doesn't do anything, right? Like I can't Worldly Counsel because I don't have blue mana. The Pulse Marasa doesn't even have a fetch line to pick back up. I don't have double green for the Turtle Witness. Just like super hot mess for a bunch of reasons. I'm gonna bottom that. I think I'm gonna go ahead and play Cinder Glade tapped on 1 here. Again, finding myself in a position where I'm like, why don't I have Watery Grave in my deck? Just like wishing I had access to fetch that up. Watery Grave plus Stomping Ground / Cinder Glade gives us all of our colors. So maybe it's a little bit of an oversight to not have that in the deck. You know, the mana base gets tight in these archetypes because you want access to... what's up for? You need access to a bunch of mountains, but feels like it's maybe wrong to not have that. I'm going to go ahead and explore here, hoping to hit a green source so we can suspend search for tomorrow this turn as well. We did not. We bricked and died because magic. So, like, again, going back to the Watery Grave topic, if I had Watery Grave here instead of this Breeding Pool, this Worldly Counsel would look at an entire extra card next turn, which would be pretty ideal for us. So I talked about liking the Explorers when we started, but thinking about it more, if our deck only has 24 lands in it, Explorer's probably not a particularly good magic card for us to be playing. Like, the amount of lands you need to, like, consistently have 3 and 4 lands early, so, like, Explore can have a text box, is, like, kind of high. And 24, I'm pretty sure doesn't meet the metric enough of the time. I think they smell blood in the water again here. You've also, like, stumbled on lands more than a few times this league. Like, obviously, last game I kept a bad hand. Or, like, let's call it a speculative hand. Not necessarily strictly bad. But this game, like, we kept 2 lands on the play, drew an extra card, and, like, don't have our 3rd land drop here on 3. Yeah, yep. I like the opponent's use of counter magic here, just, like, aggressively keeping us from setting up. Because, like, once we get going, like, they're probably not going to have enough counter spells to stop all of our big plays a lot of the time is what happens. So, using their mana early efficiently, and also just, like, stopping us from getting set up makes a lot of sense, I think. I mean, okay, counterspell my next anticipate. Holy gosh, it resolved. I would love to make a land drop, thank you. Is that just like the Stone Cold Bluffs, or am I getting like Lightning Helix here? I guess I used to be getting bolted too. They didn't have a red source when they shocked that in. Yeah, it's probably just a little bit of reach going upstairs. Just flash and Snapples. Okay, sure. I think this line makes a lot of sense too. Just like, again, the opponent recognizing their role correctly as like the beatdown in this matchup where I'm the combo deck and they're the control deck. So just like trying to get pressure on ASAP, trying to run us out of the game. Well, they have Cryptic mana. Hoping to draw a land, drew a 4-mana spell, like just modern things. One of the things we often talk about on stream is you can kind of tell how good a modern deck's going to be by looking at the curve that it has. And this deck's got it's a little bit beefy compared to like the average like really efficient modern deck, right? Like even if I put these down here, excuse me, even if I put the searches down here as a 1-mana spell, the amount of 4s and 5s that this archetype has compared to like the average like really efficient modern deck is like incredibly high. I feel like I should have a party. I'm getting my 4th land into play. Whenever I was supposed to play Eternal Witness last turn to pick the fetch land back up, it's a possibility. And like now, do I Witness or do I Bloodbraid? I missed on a land again. I think I'm supposed to just Witness to try and pick a land up here. I'm like waiting to get Cryptic commanded. You know what? I'm probably supposed to leave Blood Crypt up there so I can pay mana for the Surgical at some point. Just in case they do something. Although they don't really have a Snapcaster Mage target at this point. I'm kind of confused as to what could be in their hand. They like haven't blasted our dome with Reach. They didn't counter Sakura-Tribe Elder or the Eternal Witness. So I'm not like 100% sure what they could exactly be waiting on. I was like, where's my Steam vent? This is a Verdant Catacombs? Sorry. Just like, had a moment where I was like trying to figure out why I couldn't get Steam vents. And I was like, oh, I can't get Steam vents because this land doesn't fetch Steam vents. Just awkward for 4-color mana-based things. You just like, you get so used to playing decks in Modern where just like any fetch gets any shock that when that comes up and it doesn't happen, it's just like, wait, what a second? It's like, I thought I'd fetched the Steam vents before in this deck. What is currently occurring? Why is it happening? All right. So, I mean, I get to, like, jam these Bloodbraid Elves down their throat. Or by Bloodbraid Elves, I mean this one Bloodbraid Elf. And then I get to pivot into Bring to Lights for Scapeshift to try and force through lethal. Pulse of Marasa. Like to pick this Verdant Catacombs back up. Thank you for asking. Yeah, that was like a way better Eternal Witness. It's got haste. It's a 3/2. It drew me a land. Gain 6. That's so good. Just be aggressive here. Got a good clean 20. Wouldn't be too surprised to see the Snapcaster Mage jump in front of the BBE since they're at 14. They're at 14 and like they have 2 fetch lands in play. So like they're basically at a virtual 12 at the moment. Electrolyze, read. You got me. Did I just, like, go full Twitch chat and, like, surgical negate at the end of their turn? Or, like, right now? I think I'm just gonna go full Twitch chat and surgical their negate here. To, like, get a little info. Find out what exactly I'm playing around in their hand, see if I can get a green light. Yeah, sweet. So, like, this is what we're looking for, right? Like, their hand is just, like, actual mono blanks. I just get to, like, kill them with Scapeshift next turn. Deal. They left Settle the Wreckage in their deck and Supreme Verdict. I guess they really didn't know what we were doing, right? They saw, like, Search for Tomorrow. And, like, they saw Search for Tomorrow, Overgrown Tomb, and that's it. So they couldn't, like, no, I'm a Scapeshift deck. Honestly, based on what they've seen so far this game, they still might not know we're a Scapeshift deck. I guess with Sakura-Tribe Elder, they can kind of assume. So, next turn, Scapeshift is lethal. Blue, black, green, red. Attempt to kill you. Did you draw a Logic Knot with your Snapcaster Mage? They could have ripped a counterspell. What do you think, opponent? So there's Field of Ruin in play. That doesn't really matter as long as I keep Basic Mountain in my deck. So like this doesn't matter. I'm just going to go get a Basic Swamp. So I'll sacrifice all the non-mountains here. Leave the 2 Blood Crypts. So there's 2 Valakuts and then 4 Stomping Grounds here. Then each of the Stomping Grounds ends up dealing 6. So for those of you that aren't familiar with Valakut Scapeshift math, so you need 6 mountains for the Valakut to work. And when you have 7 lands, you get Valakut plus 6 mountains deals 18 total. Each mountain deals 3. But when you go up to 8 lands, each mountain triggers each Valakut. So, like, getting 4 lands with 2 Valakuts here deals 24 to my opponent, because each of them deals 6. Anything I'm hit with how I sideboarded? Just gonna go ahead and run it back. Remember, if you are enjoying the video or disliking the video based on the pre-recorded stuff, let me know below why. Possible ideas for improvement as we go. This might be something I add into my regular schedule a little bit if it goes over well for people that don't mind their decks being played offline, to give me a little bit of flexibility when I make content. Because occasionally I have an hour or two here or there, but firing up the stream for a short amount of time is actually detrimental to building Twitch numbers. So it's something I try not to do, but I could definitely pop in and record an offline video here and there. Hand's pretty good. It's probably the best hand we've had so far with this deck. Got like Tribe Elder here on 2 to get a ramp going. And like Harmonize is pretty good in this matchup. I played the Steam Vents tapped on 1 because I have Basic Forest plus Tribe Elder, which will bring the Cinder Glade into play untapped on 3 potentially. We also like drew this Misty Rainforest, which will help us do that as well. In the event that they decide Steve-O here needs to get Logic Knotted or Mana Leaked. Alright, Steve, your people are counting on you. Steve! Oh, Steve! Steve's probably getting a swamp here for us. And since they just passed with mana up here, I think I'm probably just going to like play this Blood Crypt tapped rather than try and run this Harmonize into potential counterspell here. And just like end step Worldly Counsel. One of the things that feels a little bit awkward about this build so far is that in these control matchups, the blue-based builds of Bring to Light Scapeshift have counter magic to like fight through their counterspells. So like the lack of like 1 mana discard in this deck, since we're like kind of base black in order to fight through that, feels maybe a little bit out of place. I wouldn't mind like some Duress Thoughtseize Inquisition mix in the what's going on here. So they chose to shock that in. So they likely have a 2 mana counterspell here. That's why they played that while still holding it up. Go ahead and dig 4 deep here. Hunting Wilds is a good draw. Would like that one. For those not familiar with modern staple Hunting Wilds, for 4 mana it grabs 2 forests out of our deck, and then if it's kicked, it allows us to make them into 3/3s permanently. Hunting Wilds is very good if you have like multiple copies of Bring to Light in your hand, but you're still low on land. So like the first Bring to Light can double ramp you, so that way the second Bring to Life can get Scapeshift for lethal. Be interesting to see if they burn a counterspell on Hunting Wilds. Like, I kind of want this to resolve, but at the same time, like, if this is getting countered and Harmonized or Scapeshift resolving instead, that's probably a good exchange for us. Yeah, opponent decides this is not worth picking a fight over. I'm going to go ahead and get our non-mountain forests here. Next turn, we'll actually be in a pretty good spot. So, like, this gets me up to 7 lands, which means the swamp is my 8th land, which means next turn, we can cast this Harmonize. And then if they choose to counter the Harmonize with something like a Cryptic Command, we can then kill them with Scapeshift. So, like, we're going to put them in a position where, like, we're playing 2 good spells in the same turn. And if they play, like, a Negate on the Harmonize, I'll probably Surgical the Negate to, like, check for a second copy or, like, know if there's a counterspell hiding. So I want to get a green source here with this Misty Rainforest because I want 4 green so I can Harmonize plus Scapeshift next turn. Well, I guess I have Cinder Glade for that too, so it probably didn't matter. I'd like to try and draw 3. And if this draw 3 just resolves, I might just pass the turn here. Yeah, I think I'm just going to go ahead and search for tomorrow and then pass the turn. Oop. Well, I guess I have this Bring to Light for next turn now. Although I guess, no. So I want to, next turn I'll be in an even better spot. So this way I'm hitting 9 lands. That way next turn I can actually Scapeshift plus Bring to Light in the same turn. So I'm basically just like double Scapeshifting. One thing that is relevant that I need to keep track of here is that I'm kind of running low on mountains. So I've got, Vendilion Click's kind of annoying. I've got 5 mountains so far, so there's 5 left in my deck. And again, not a huge deal, because once I'm past 8 lands, I'm able to get double Valakut, so I'm able to deal 6 damage per mountain. So like my 5 mountains deal 30 damage, but it is something I want to be conscious of as the game goes longer. I assume we're going to lose one of these two Scapeshifts here. We're not. That's a little scary. That tells me that my opponent thinks they can beat double Scapeshift next turn. So that's their 6th land they just shocked in there. So that tells me they probably have like Cryptic plus Negate. Again, just like going back to like, imagine if the Surgical Extraction is just like a 1-mana discard spell. We just like punch through their defenses here nicely. Drawing the second Valakut means I have to play it because I need 2 Valakut triggers per mountain to kill my opponent here, right? I guess I technically have 15, but to beat like a Lightning Helix, I need to do this. And honestly, I'm kind of expecting both of these to get countered since they let us keep both of them, but at this point I just need to like jam through them. Hopefully they have like Snapcaster Negate and they just like weren't paying attention to the Surgical Extraction. Would be ideal. Mana Leak, that's brutal. Okay, so I guess I could have played around that. But like I hadn't actually seen Mana Leak out of them, we'd seen Logic Knot. I guess I looked at their deck with Surgical Extraction, so I could have known that was coming. Potentially. They have Azcanta active here, so we're probably dead at this point. Yeah. Yeah, just never beating active Azcanta. It's a rough night. I always get like really excited about when I look at decks like this one or like the Grixis Delver deck that we played earlier today, and then I actually like start playing Modern and I like quickly realize like why these are decks that I haven't touched in a long time, or like why I moved away from playing them. Just like this format is just so brutal and efficient that these kind of neat things that just like have a lot of clunk in them just like have a really hard time keeping up. And I think one of the things that keeps players so engaged in Modern is that there's enough people who are also playing clunky, awkward decks like this that some amount of the time, like, your awkward deck plays against someone else's awkward deck, and they're, like, kind of play a good game of Magic together because neither of them are efficient, but, like, when you're playing against, like, good decks in the format, you just kind of get brutalized. So down here in the O2 bracket, maybe we'll find somebody else who's mostly playing Magic for fun. Our Scapeshift deck can do stuff and things. We can have Valakut here, obviously, because it always comes into play tapped. We'll get to play Breeding Pool on 2 into Sakura-Tribe Elder, and then we'll actually be able to play Tireless Tracker on 3 before we make our land drop for the turn, which will let us make 2 clues with it. I dream of no longer being clueless on turn 3. Show me what kind of demons I'm facing on the other side of the board. Oh, baby. Oh, baby, a tribal deck. Come to Papa. Oh, no. I have to brutalize the elves. The one main deck Anger being in our opening hand here just, like, almost isn't fair. It's like, oh, you sweet, sweet creatures of the forest. We hardly knew ye. So I want to prioritize. So between this Misty Rainforest and this Sakura-Tribe Elder, I want to make sure I get a second red and a black source. So what's the best way to do that? They don't have a second land here. They're going to be pretty slow. Yeah, it looks like their draw is just really slow. So I think I'm going to give them a hot second to put some more stuff into play. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this swamp here. I'm going to go ahead and go Tireless Tracker, Misty Rainforest, make some clues. So grab a red source for us. I guess one of the things I need to consider now, the way I've sequenced here, is I guess it depends on how much stuff they put into play here next turn. If they have a Heritage Druid, I might need to Anger before I can get my Tireless Tracker out of range. But they don't have a Heritage Druid. I'm only play like one or two more things this turn. I can like double crack clues next turn, so my tracker's a 5/4, and then Anger their board while we're in a situation where my tracker will live. That seems like it bodes well for me. So put this into play here. Go ahead and pass back. So like even if they want to like throw away a 2/2, they're only connecting for 4 points of damage here, which still keeps us pretty far out of range from like a Shaman of the Pack or something like that. Next turn, we'll get to go Anger, clear your dorks out, crack a clue, attack you for 6, make another clue with a tapped land. It's like pretty reasonable for us. Just have like a bunch of 3s and 4s in their hand. It's rough. I've been there, friendo. Okay, and they are trading Dwinnen's Elite here for 4 points of damage, which I think I like this trade from their side of the board. Seems pretty reasonable. Like, they obviously are, like, racing against a Scapeshift here down the line. Honestly, with the Anger of the Gods, it's looking like a game that we just, like, won't even need Scapeshift to close out. Nettle Sentinel. I no longer feel bad about Angers of the Godsing them, because they're playing a bad build of Elves. Goodbye, friends. And Nettle Sentinel. Coming at ya. I probably don't even need the Scapeshift to win the game at this point. Just like gonna win by virtue of Anger of the Gods and Tireless Tracker. And them missing land drops. Like let's call a spade a spade. That's a big part of what's going on here, right? Alright, so Chupacabra's kind of slow. The Angers are good, obviously. Unmoored Ego is not particularly good. This is probably not a matchup where I have a ton of time to mess around with Worldly Counsel, so I think I'm going to trim one of those. I'm not certain I want to bring anything else in. I could maybe see the extra Scapeshift being good just so I can like hit my combo pieces consistently. I think I'm just going to run it like this. This seems fine. It's like I have a bunch of sweepers and stuff. Ritual of Soot plus Kalitas is kind of hot. Sweet. So we need to draw another black source here, but like if we draw another black source, we have like turn 3 Ritual of Soot, which is like not bad. Palace Land War Elves, yep. Well, that's a fantastic card that we definitely want to draw. That one's not awkward at all when it's in our opening hand. They have Windswept Teeth in their deck. Are they playing 3 colors? Makes you wonder. Lead the Stampede. That one's pretty good. Only a draw 2. How sad for you. Going on an adventure. Going on an adventure. That's a touch awkward. So I messed up here. So I should have fetched a swamp to cast the Explorer, because now that I drew Valakut and I want to put my land into play tapped, I actually can't Ritual of Soot next turn now. Which feels a touch awkward. So hopefully they're not going to be in position to kill us on their 4, which they might be here. So, like, there's no guarantee I was going to get to Soot next turn anyways, but I guaranteed don't get to Soot next turn. The Heritage Druid, Nettle Sentinel, Dwindle's Elite. We could be dead here. So just go ahead and see what they do. They might be coming for me here. Are they playing around a Sweeper? Playing around a Sweeper would be incredibly good for me. They might also just be like going Elvish Mystic into Dwindle's Elite off the Heritage Druid. But if they want to pump the brakes to play around a Sweeper, that's actually like fantastic the way my hand is. I'm going to go ahead and fetch Basic Swamp here. And then probably cast Explore off of Stomping Ground plus Valakut. Put this other Valakut into play, and then end step will Worldly Counsel from them and like Impulse. Look at our top 4 cards. Fantabulous. So we get 5 shots to find a black source for next turn to cast Ritual of Soot. This is one of those games where, like, you know, you got to decide when you're on the elf side of the board, like, are you in a position where you can, like, go slow because you have enough resources to go slow and, like, grind them out? Or, like, do you need to make them have it? And, like, if my opponent had, like, made me have the Sweeper here, I probably would have died because I just don't at the moment. Yield until here, opponent's turn. Let's click that one. Alright, do your thing, Chicken Wing. What you got? Come at me, tiny green people. Wonder if we'll see, like, double Shaman come down and gobble me up here anyways. It's possible that, like, they have, like, double Shaman and they're going to kill me even without extending last turn. But in that case, it's smart if they, like, had it locked up with the go wide. So they're up to 4 mana here. See Elvish Clan Caller, sure. So far, they're gearing up well for the ritual that I'm going to commence with next turn. I wonder if we'll see, like, an Azuri here, perhaps. To, like, give them regenerate mana. So if they have double Shaman, I'm dead. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm actually not dead to single Shaman, so that's nice. They clicked through their combat step, which sucks for them, so they missed 3 points of damage. Looking for a black source here. Get 4 looks this turn. Anger of the Gods also sufficient. So we're looking for, like, anger. We're looking for anger or a black source, and we found the black source. Sign me up. Oh, they found Azuri, but, like, does Azuri really matter? So I guess they get to protect 5 elves here, so I kind of need another sweeper. So this regenerates another target elf, and they can tap 3 elves plus have 2 mana here. So what happens if I Maelstrom Pulse this? Because it can't regenerate itself. If I Maelstrom Pulse that, they attack next turn for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Yeah, so if I do that, I'm gonna get Ghet. So I think I start by think I start by casting Explore here in case I hit an Anger of the Gods. That one's a little bit... Well, I guess Anger's not good enough because they could pump. So I need to Shock and then Ritual of Soot here, and then I have to hope to find another sweeper next turn. I guess I could also just hit Bring to Light or Scapeshift next turn for lethal, which is nice. I don't think they can kill me next turn if they only save 5 elves here, which they can do. So, like, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 elves. They're losing half their board, which has to include Azuri, because Azuri can't regenerate himself. It's a real shame. It's actually worth noting here, too, like, this Ritual is such, like, kind of a cute inclusion. Like, if this Ritual should have been Damnation, like, they'd just be, like, super out of the game, right? Because Damnation says creatures can't be regenerated. It just, like, doesn't care about Azuri. Probably a mistake on their part that they tapped the Nettle Sentinel and not one of their 3 untapped elves on the right side. With Azuri gone, there's no more fear of overrun. That being said, the lands and elves they have kept, they can fetch up a Clan Caller at the end of my turn. But at the same time, this Maelstrom Pulse makes the Clan Caller activation like less intimidating. Because I just like pulse the Clan Caller. Yeah, so if they no attacks here, that means they're planning to activate Clan Caller at the end of turn, which makes Maelstrom Pulse better. But I feel like they're supposed to just smack me here. Yeah, I like this attack, because they're definitely just supposed to, like, try and put me dead on board. Because, like, they activate Clan Caller and I, like, play a Sweeper next turn, I'm, like, still at 14, and that's real bad for them. I'm actually only 1 land away from just, like, casting this Platinum Emperion, huh? That's a Bring to Light. Is that lethal? It's actually not lethal, right? Because their lands don't deal damage to them. I guess it's... You could argue it's lethal because it's going to get Anger of the Gods. So, like, that's, like, basically a lethal Bring to Light, right? Against elves, at least. So it's, like, it's a lethal Bring to Light. Like, doesn't kill them with Scapeshift, but it wins the game. So, again, for those not familiar with Valakut mathematics, 7 land Scapeshift with Valakut out deals 18 points. It's a concession lockup or just a normal lockup? Looks like a normal lockup. Alright. Took that draw step there. Alright, we're on the scoreboard. We found and honestly that's probably, I wouldn't be surprised if that's how a lot of this deck's matchups go. Like, are Anger of the Gods in Damnation real Magic Gathering cards against your opponent? If yes, then this deck is fine. And like, if those cards don't have text box against your opponent, like against, like, you know, Jeskai, then you're gonna have a real bad time. Or things that are like really fast, like KCI. 2 and 1. See if we can run the old 0-2 back into the modern staple 3-2 here. I kept a hand like this earlier today, and it didn't pan out, but I'm going to go ahead and keep it again. Like, hopefully it's a matchup where, like, hopefully we either hit a land, or it's a matchup where Anger of the Gods has a text box. Breeding Pool. That could go either way. Breeding Pool could be Infect. Could also be something like Bant Company. Bant Company. Dee-dee-dee-dee. So we've got 2 double black cards, a double red card in my hand, which is like a little bit awkward as far as like making all of my colors happen is concerned. I'm going to go ahead and hedge the double red for now, since that's the cheaper card. Omoto, do. I wonder if part of the lag that I'm experiencing tonight is due to the hotel Wi-Fi. It's hard to know, really, because Moto's just, like, always slow. Hello, Bueller. I might have to take 30 seconds and use my cell phone if this keeps up. used my cell phone for one of the videos earlier to tether. And, like, I used the hotel Wi-Fi for 2 others and they were fine. But it's also evening now, so maybe more people back in their rooms using the Wi-Fi. Alright, we got there. It happened, I think. It took us a hot second, but we got through it. Breeding Pool Island Search for Azcanta. Is this a Scapeshift mirror match? I feel like it could be a Scapeshift mirror match. Alright, that's like better than missing, right? It's kind of funny. We look like red green Valakut Titan, but I promise you, opponent, we are not. So I have double red. So this search for tomorrow probably wants to go get. It is in fact a Valakut mirror match. That's funny. Welcome to the 1-2 bracket, baby. Where the Valakut decks, where the blue-based Valakut decks thrive. The 1-2 bracket. This is probably a rancid matchup for us. Like, their cryptic commands are going to be very good against our slow mopey deck. I'm going to go ahead and cast this Explorer, hoping to hit a land again. Just, like, it's been impressive how many times in these 4 matches, and by impressive I mean sad, that these, like, Explorers have just been, like, worse than having lands. I feel like if 2 of these Explorers were just 2 more lands, we'd be in a much better spot. Maybe, honestly, even if all 4 of them were lands. Just, like, hit all your land drops in my deck that wants to get to 8 lands consistently. I just, like, have no idea how we're ever supposed to beat a deck full of cryptic commands. And especially one that, like, doesn't care about anger and doesn't care about damnation. Seems like it's going to be a real clunky task for us. Like, even post-board, I just, like, don't even really have tools, right? Yeah, I'm kind of spent on this. I'm going to go ahead and I feel myself getting a little bit bitter at what we have going on here, and I'm going to talk about why and just go ahead and wrap up the league here. I feel like, while I was kind of optimistic for the Explorers when we started, I think there were multiple times that league where I just, like, wish they were more land drops. I feel like this deck's really focused on beating up the creature decks in the format, and against decks that aren't creature decks, like, the tools that I have in my sideboard don't really naturally slot in. Like, I don't really have a good way to play through counter magic, and I don't have good efficient disruption for spell-based combo decks either. So, like, basically if my opponent's playing something like, say, Storm or Ironworks, for instance, I'm, like, hoping that, like, my 1 copy of Unmoored Ego is good enough, because the rest of my deck just, like, really doesn't have meaningful interaction. Overall, again, just, like, we often talk about, like, looking at the curves of decks to determine how well they're going to do in Modern, and, like, this curve is, like, a little ambitious. Like, having 12 things, basically, that cost 4+ mana in this format is, like, just asking to get run over in a lot of matchups. This one definitely felt a little bit clunky and inefficient, and it was a good, as someone who really wishes Bring to Light Scapeshift was an archetype that was playable, that league was kind of a healthy reminder of, like, why I've kind of, like, not visited this archetype in a while. Just, like, really clunky, really inefficient, and just, like, kind of awkward in the format as a whole. At any rate, thank you, everyone, for watching. I appreciate y'all tuning in for this YouTube-exclusive content while I'm snowed in here at SCGCon. Remember to like the video, ring the bell, and drop a comment down below, and let me know if this is something you like, something you didn't like. As always, be constructive and specific as to why you felt the way that you did. And I am going to be streaming live tomorrow on Monday from Ross Merriam's house. I might try and get him to stream a little bit with me as well, but at the very least, he's going to let me borrow his internet for a while so we can be live. So hopefully catch all of y'all around then, and everybody have a good part of the day wherever you're at in the world. Thanks for watching.